Again, we are streaming live to Twitch right now, folks. It's twitch.tv/Smashomash. It's a fantastic mobile streaming platform. And if you're viewing the videos there, don't forget to view them on YouTube. If you're viewing on YouTube, don't forget to check out the Twitch channel and to check out the BitChute channel as well. We're almost at 400 subscribers on BitChute. Will you be our 400th? And let's do a cosmology segment. Now, there are a lot of different topics to talk about when it comes to cosmology. And one of them is what goes on around galactic cores. And that, my friends, my foes and my neutrals, is what goes on around the Milky Way's galactic core. There are a series of very hot, very bright, and very large blue giant stars orbiting the massive radio source at the galactic core known as Sagittarius A star. And that's why I've put it up there, because we're always saying stuff like Milky Way galaxy team for the win. Today's cosmology segment will feature information about garbage data. Now, we've got satellites that look at the Earth, and we've got satellites that look at space, and we've got satellites like the GOES-16, which look at both. One of the missions is the SMAS mission. The SMAS mission is designed to look at radiation coming from Earth, from soil, from the lithosphere, from the oceans, and so on, as the Earth emits radiation, not just the sun. And the SMAS is tasked with measuring said radiation. However, it receives radiation that it doesn't want from the sun, and so it scrubs out that data. Little known fact, that data is actually useful. So it turns out that some microwave frequencies from the sun may be used to forecast things like solar flares. And the forecasting of solar flares is not something we claim to be doing. What we do claim to be doing is explaining the mechanism behind the solar cycles. So 1.4 gigahertz is one of the frequencies, one of the portions of the bandwidth that is relevant, as it is associated with the angular width, speed, and kinetic energy of coronal mass ejections. And you can find this article on phys.org in the Astronomy and Space section, entitled Water Mission, It Takes on Space Weather. So I thought that was an interesting one. What did you think? Leave us a comment and let us know. Today we're not picking anything random at all. Today's Sunday edition of the Daily Space Weather, in the cosmology segment, we're going to talk about an object you may have heard of before. It's Alpha Cygni, or you could call it Cygnus X3, depending on which portion of it you're referring. You could call it Deneb, Alpha Cygni. You could call it the celestial pole star at the other end of the precessional cycle of Earth's axial tilt wobble. You could call it a massive X-ray binary. And here are the transient X-ray outbursts from Cygnus X3. And without further explanation of that, let's go to a visual. What's interesting about Cygnus X3 is that the massive radio source known as Cygnus X3 is believed to be something like a neutron star, a black hole, a quark star. We've got all kinds of crazy ideas about what this thing is. But in any case, this object right here is orbiting a massive Wolf-Rayet star. And what we're seeing when we look at Deneb is actually one point of light. And it's because the Earth and Sun are located inside of this poloidal field jet. So this object is located somewhere between 3,000 and 18,000 light years. The distance is hotly contested, as it's difficult to measure the distance of an object with a jet directed directly toward you. And what's interesting about this is that, well, we've got this cloud of ionized gas and dust, which is produced by the interaction between this more massive object and this apparently less massive but much larger object, which also happens to be a Wolf-Rayet star. This object here, the Wolf-Rayet star, is so massive, if it were in our solar system, you'd be inside of it. It's approximately the size of Mars's orbit, and this more massive object completes this orbit in, wait for it, 4.8 hours, which means this massive object is actually traveling at relativistic speeds, and it is sending protons all the way to the surface of the planet and indeed into the planet. Or at least we're seeing neutrons there. So in all likelihood, we're seeing protons there. But in any case, without getting further into what's going on with Cygnus X3, I'd invite everybody to check out our forum, smashomash.com/forum. In the cosmology section, there's a whole forum on cosmology. We've recently updated the most. Now, while there is a forum topic entirely about Cygnus X3 massive X-ray binary, we've got another forum topic known as the most. And we've updated the articles that we covered yesterday, so check that out if you haven't. Is the nearest star cluster located 153 light years away only? The Hyades cluster? Is it being torn apart? Or is it exploding? Or is it doing a combination of both? Also, we talked about the Huygens Nebula yesterday, the Huygens supernoval remnant. And so that's today's cosmology segment. And I've been your host, Dan, a.k.a. Smashomash. Don't forget to press like and subscribe if you enjoy the content. And let's continue on to talk about more interesting features of space.